Hello, I'm Jane Preston Rose. I'm a board member of the Portage Park District Foundation. Every year, the foundation honors some of its most dedicated citizens in Portage County for their service to the environment and our public parks. On behalf of the foundation and the Portage Park District, we'd like to congratulate all of them and invite you to learn more about them.
Story Trail Project at Mobius Nature Center, recipient of Portage Park District Foundation's 2022 Award for Environmental Education. The Story Trail Project at Mobius Nature Center provides children of all ages, and adults too, a fun way to learn about nature. The 44-acre Mobius Nature Center on East Mennonite Road in Aurora sponsors nature programs and activities throughout the year. A nature trail wanders through 3 ecosystems: forest, meadow, and pond. The Misadventures of Beverly Beaver, a delightful story about beavers, tells the story of Beverly Beaver along Mobius's nature trail. At each of the 7 stations along the nature trail, children learn about the natural surroundings as they follow Beverly's adventures. Each station includes a chapter of the story narrative with 2 versions, one for younger children being read to them by an adult, and another for younger readers. Children learn about forests, meadows, and vernal ponds. They follow Beverly Beaver as she wanders away from her family and is befriended by Sally Salamander, Owen Owl, Carl Cardinal, and Sweetie Swift, who lives in a chimney swift tower on an island in the pond. Fortunately, she avoids Cody Coyote and finally makes it back home safely. With the support of many in the community, Bill Shaw conceived the project and wrote the story. Brooke Anderson created original illustrations for the story at each station, and Melissa Carlson crafted the digital illustrations. Congratulations to all those involved in the Story Trail Project, recipient of this year's Environmental Education Award.
Congratulations, Bill, and we look forward to learning more about the Story Trail Project. Tell me a little bit, how did it all come about and how'd you do it?
What we did is we developed a nature trail at first, which was just a trail through the nature center with 3 ecosystems as a way to help kids get educated about the interactions within each ecosystem. And then Marty Sickinger, who is our secretary, showed me a tiny article from the newspaper that metro parks across the state were collaborating with libraries to put in at various stations chapters of stories that would tell the story of whatever the library had put together. When I saw this article, I went immediately to Sandy Tucker, our children's librarian in Aurora, and I said, are there books we could use to build a story trail of our own? So Sandy helped me find some things, but truthfully, nothing really connected with what I wanted to do. So I began to think we could do this ourselves. We could develop our own story related to the nature, the events in nature and the animals and birds in our nature center, create a story about what was happening there. And so I drafted a story and got kids and adults and parents, teachers to kind of help edit it. And therefore the story that we created, which is called The Misadventure of Beverly Beaver, because there is a beaver lodge and a dam right there on the nature center, was our own story. And it was a story of what we experienced in nature on the nature trail that we had created.
The Kent Lions Club, recipient of Portage Park District Foundation's Environmental Conservation Award for Environmental Activism. Over the past 15 months, the Kent Lions Club has collected more than 5,000 pounds of plastic that otherwise would wind up in landfills. On the final Friday of each month between noon and 2 p.m., club members collect plastics dropped off by Kent and surrounding area residents at the Kent United Methodist Church. These are plastics that cannot be recycled through normal recycling programs such as grocery, bread, dry cleaning and cereal bags, bubble wrap, water or soda overstraps, reclosable food storage bags, and so much more. For every 500 pounds the club removes from the landfill stream, it is awarded a heavy-duty, weather-resistant park bench. Organizations can receive only 2 benches a year. The Kent Lions Club has collected so much plastic that they have helped other clubs and organizations earn a bench. The Community Garden in South Kent, the United Methodist Church's play area, and the Special Olympics program are but 3 examples of local nonprofit recipients. They are also catalysts in helping organizations throughout the county start their own programs. In addition to the plastic bench program, the club participates in the highway cleanup program 4 times a year. They were recognized by Portage County for cleaning 2 miles of highway between routes 43 and 59 in Kent for 25 years. Congratulations, Kent Lions Club, recipient of this year's Environmental Activism Award.
Well, congratulations, Tony,
Thank you.
and the Kent Lions Club. And I understand so many of the Lions Clubs in Portage County that have been involved in this Trek project.
It was mainly started by, I'd say, Suffield and Brimfield clubs, and it grew from there, and they've been very instrumental in helping people, and it just has been great. The community is so into it. We have a collection once a month at the Methodist Church in Kent, and for the longest time, we were averaging 500 pounds a month collection from the community, and they're really vested into it. We've had our benches out there a couple times for them to see what they're working towards, and it's just been phenomenal. March 29th, we had our last collection, and we passed 5,000 pounds, and we've been doing about 14 months.
5,000 pounds, that's like 2.5
And that's just
tons.
our club. That's all take the other 8 clubs in Portage County, and that's a lot of plastic that is being saved from going into the landfills.
Peter Mohan, recipient of Portage Park District Foundation's 2022 Award for Environmental Activism. Pete Mohan serves as a volunteer for the Portage Park District in many roles. In 2021, Pete volunteered over 43 hours of his time and talents by collecting and analyzing data for the Park District, monitoring parks and trails, and sharing his knowledge at educational programs. The Portage Park District Master Plan Update Survey was analyzed in detail by Pete, providing a look into the future of the Portage Parks and understanding the interests of the wide range of park constituents. He also analyzes data about park usage, which is essential to the growth of the Park District as it seeks to better serve the needs of the public. Pete is also working with the park staff to develop educational programming that promotes cycling and the use of our hike and bike trail systems. A person of many talents, Pete has conducted freshwater mussel surveys, served as a field biologist for coral reef research, and was a member of the BSA Venture Crew. His vast knowledge of wildlife and cycling make him a valuable resource for the Portage Park District and the community. He has a positive attitude and eagerly shares his experience about the natural world. Congratulations, Pete Mohan, recipient of this year's Environmental Activist Award.
Congratulations, Pete, and thank you for all you've done for the parks and the broader communities. So,
Great surprise.
well deserved.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what you do and why you do it. What motivates you?
I've been interested in the parks probably for about 15 years and did a little bit of volunteering back before the levees. But in more recent years, as I became more involved as a cyclist, I started looking more into trails and had an opportunity a couple years ago to become involved with collecting trail data from some of the little sensors that we put on some of the trails. And I've been doing a lot of analysis of the trail data, kind of figuring out who's using the trails, when they're using them, what the weather does. Unsurprisingly, when it snows, people don't go on the trail.
Tom Collins, recipient of Portage Park District Foundation's Environmental Conservation Award for Environmental Activism. Portage County and Garrettsville recently lost a member who was energetically committed to building a stronger, more sustainable community. Tom Collins was deeply involved in the Connections Communities group, which included members from Garrettsville, Hiram, Manaway, and Aurora. Focusing on the Garrettsville entrance to the Headwaters Trail, he led the process, with his membership in the Rotary Club of Garrettsville/Hiram, of creating an accessible entrance from Route 82 with a pollinator garden, picnic table and benches, and a bike repair station. As a proud owner of a Chevy Volt, he was deeply involved in discussions about the environmental advantages of all electric vehicles. Tom believed that it is urgent for the world to move towards sustainable, renewable energy and would passionately, but calmly, bring up the subject whenever he had the opportunity. But it wasn't just talk. He would always follow up his words with an effort to create practical ways to live better. An example of this commitment to practical solutions, he led the process which will bring an electric vehicle charging station to Garrettsville, which will help encourage others to choose and help support the viability of all electric vehicles. Tom was very involved with the Portage Trail Group of the Sierra Club, serving on its executive committee and their political committee. He set up their electric vehicle program and chaired the Ohio Energy Committee. The Portage Park District Foundation honors the life of Tom Collins by posthumously awarding him this year's Environmental Activism Award.
Well, thank you, Tom's wife and 2 sons, to join us to talk about all the many activities, someone who was as passionate as he was about the environment. How did he have time to do all
I
that?
know.
We don't know.
We don't know. He found a way to do it, yeah.
But it sounded like he involved all of you in it.
Mhm, yeah, oh, yeah.
One way or another.
And you took lots of rides in your electric car?
Yes, and he even actually got, I think it was last year during the car shows, the first electric car show, like part of it. He even had, them bring in electric cars to be a part of the car shows, so.
In Garrettsville, you mean?
It was a part of it, yeah, a little bit, yeah. And then that clean energy, they used to do the car shows all
The
over.
Drive Electric?
Drive Electric, yeah.
Car
So-
shows all around Northeast Ohio.
And that was a fun thing to do, to go up to like Lake Erie with him, and there was all kinds of places that we used to go for those car shows, yeah.
Yeah, there was an interesting, like, parks and outside of breweries and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think he did one near Scoops.
Yeah, oh yeah, but connecting
Some
something.
fun places.
Yeah, ice cream and
Ice cream,
breweries, you can't go
breweries.
wrong.
No. Good
Some
combination.
people didn't even come out for the cars.
But they were introduced to the cars.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Taproot Catering, recipient of Portage Park District Foundation's 2022 Award for Green Business. Mike and Linda Fiala own and operate Taproot Catering as well as their food truck Roll Call Burgers. They are very concerned that they provide not only the best dining experience for their clients, but also an earth-friendly experience as well. They pride themselves on locally sourcing as many of their ingredients as possible. It is not unusual to be eating a dish prepared with produce that was still growing in the field that very morning. When the pandemic hit and businesses shut down, they very quickly pivoted their business model and offered weekday family meals for pickup from their North Water Street kitchen in Kent. Unlike many takeout businesses that rely heavily on plastic containers, they worked hard to ensure their containers were more environmentally friendly. They used paper bags and cardboard containers that could not only hold the entrees but also juicier foods. No styrofoam here. For their catered events, they avoid plastic, using instead reusable dishes or sustainable bamboo plates and utensils. Where possible, they use reusable containers. To them, reducing and reusing are even better than recycling. They are also active composters, composting all the fruit and vegetable scraps from their food preparation for use in their own extensive garden. To Mike and Linda, operating a business with a focus on sustainability is a natural extension of how they conduct themselves in their personal lives, very mindful of their impact on the environment. Congratulations, Mike and Linda Fiala, recipients of this year's Green Business Award.
Well, Mike and Linda, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're anxious to learn about Taproot and how you started and how environmentally conscious you are.
We were a little bit surprised to have won this award, but really that's just because the way we approach being a green business is just an extension of who we are in our personal lives. And so we are conscientious about sustainability, whether that's purchasing food from local producers or paying a little bit extra money to have reusable or recyclable containers. We are conscientious about food waste, so we collect our food scraps and we compost them.
Joe DeFuria, recipient of Portage Park District Foundation's 2022 Award for Stewardship. Joe is an active volunteer for Portage Park District. He gifts his talents and time to remove invasive species, build geocaches, monitor trails and parks, and maintain kiosk information. In 2021, Joe served over 36 hours as a volunteer in various roles. Joe also assists with education programs and has delivered in-person and virtual programs on native moths, birding, and removing invasive species from home properties. Joe is an Ohio Certified Volunteer Naturalist. He has volunteered with the Ohio Division of Natural Resources Division of Natural Areas and Preserves to remove invasive plant species from state nature preserves. He He also conducts stream quality monitoring on a segment of the Upper Cuyahoga Scenic River as a volunteer with ODNR's Scenic Rivers program. Joe is committed to being a curious and responsible citizen scientist. He sets an example for friends and neighbors by actively removing invasive plant species on his property and planting native species. Joe has photographed and documented hundreds of species of moths at his Hiram home and regularly enters his wildlife observations on iNaturalist. It is evident from Joe's service history that he cares deeply about the environment and wildlife in Portage County and is committed to getting his hands dirty and educating others to protect our natural world. Congratulations, Joe DeFuria, recipient of this year's Stewardship Award.
Congratulations, Joe, and thank you for all you've done, not only for our parks, but the broader community. So tell me a little bit about what you have done.
So my wife and I volunteered to do stream quality monitoring on the Upper Cuyahoga, which is about a mile from the house. And we go out, and it's kind of interesting because I didn't know, but in order to monitor the water quality, you really don't test the water per se. You test and try to find out what types of bugs are in the stream. So we have a net, a seine, and we scoop up all these different little macroinvertebrates that are very, very small, hard to see. Put on my cheaters and kind of determine all these bugs, and the type of bugs and the number that you find determine the quality of the water. So some bugs you only find in high quality streams, and some bugs like leeches and stuff are in kind of lower quality waters. So Upper Cuyahoga is a pretty clean and healthy river, so we find lots of stuff in the water.
Eileen Fitzsimmons, recipient of Portage Park District Foundation's 2022 Lifetime Achievement Award. Eileen Fitzsimmons has been a vocal advocate for parks and green space preservation in Streetsboro for over 15 years. Her involvement in Streetsboro's environmental activities began in 2006 when she was appointed to Streetsboro's Green Space Committee. That group made recommendations to City Council about properties to be preserved as green space. Eileen served as president from 2007 and 2011 when she moved out of state. Under Eileen's leadership, the Green Space Committee helped educate their community about land preservation. A brochure was published, Preserve, Protect, Connect, that was distributed at community events. A newspaper column written by committee members, Green Living, was a monthly feature in the Gateway News. Eileen served on the committees that developed a parks master plan in 2007 and a later update in 2019. When Eileen moved back to Streetsboro in 2017, City Council was considering selling Thomas Heritage Park for the money. She led a Facebook campaign to save Thomas Heritage Park. The purpose was to get people involved and let council know that people in Streetsboro were against the sale. She urged people, especially dog owners, since the dog park is the only one in Streetsboro, to attend a council meeting. It was standing room only at the meeting, and the council voted not to sell the park after hearing the many citizens' comments. In 2018 and 2019, Eileen was instrumental in establishing an Arbor Day ceremony as a city event. Dogwood trees were planted next to the library. In 2021, a buckeye tree was planted in Thomas Heritage Park in memory of Helen Gregory, an original Green Space Committee member and a founding trustee of the Portage Park District Foundation. Eileen started the Friends of Streetsboro Parks group in 2019 to help support funding of the parks. The group, a nonprofit 501c3 organization, slowly gained momentum and hit its stride with the successful Paws and Pals family event in October 2021. The event will be held again in October 2022. Proceeds from the inaugural Paws and Pals event will support park amenities such as additional park benches in Thomas Heritage Park and a dog watering station. Eileen is a weekly contributor to the Streetsboro Information and Discussion Board on Facebook, sharing parks-related articles and news about parks to the 6,000-plus Streetsboro readers. She is also a longtime volunteer for the Portage Park District, helping in the office, conducting trail counts, and helping as the longest-serving committee member organizing this annual Environmental Conservation Awards event. Congratulations, Eileen Fitzsimmons, recipient of this year's Lifetime Achievement Award.
Eileen, congratulations, and thank you for coming and chatting with me about the many things you have done. Tell me, Eileen, what are you most proud of?
Oh, a few years ago, some of the members of our city council felt that the money that they were still paying on the Thomas Heritage Park property was too much for the city, and they felt that they should sell off part of it in order to make up and pay off some of the funds that they owed. And that's the park with the dog park. And so I started a Facebook page called Save Thomas Park, and I appealed mainly to dog owners because the dog owners were the ones that used the dog park, you know, but it attracted everybody that felt that was too important of a property to get rid of. And so, you know, I wasn't really fighting the city as much as I was trying to rally the troops to come to the city council meeting where they were discussing it and let people state their opinion about why they thought that it shouldn't be sold. And, you know, normal audience at a city council meeting is probably 6 people, and we had over 30 that came, and it was standing room only. They had to bring out extra chairs, and a lot of the people spoke in favor of it. And in the end, city council voted to not sell it.
Well, congratulations.
So I'm very proud of saving the park.
Good.
Jim Bowling, KEC Edith Chase Award. As is our tradition, the Kent Environmental Council's annual Edith Chase Conservation Award is also presented at this event. The recipient of this year's award is James Bowling, Deputy Director, Service and Superintendent of Engineering for the City of Kent. For the past 15 years that he has served the City of Kent, Jim has sought to right-size streets and sidewalks to accommodate both cars, bicycles, and pedestrians. Some years ago, he organized a bicycle tour of the State Route 261 in an effort to obtain user input in the potential downsizing of that route. He has made efforts to include a wide variety of stakeholders in planning before the design process had begun, so their views can influence the design of a project. In assessing the impact of traffic revisions on East Main Street, Jim organized a group to ride the bus to help determine barriers to increased use of public transit along this route. Additionally, he has spearheaded bicycle and pedestrian improvements to River Edge Park between the West Main Bridge and the Fairchild Bridge. Jim has been instrumental in working with the Kent Parks and Recreation to enhance the visibility of the Cuyahoga River as a central asset to the City of Kent. Additionally, he has worked with KSU to reduce the amount of impervious pavement where city and university property adjoin, such as Summit Street. Large retention basins there were planted with appropriate plant material to create wetlands. Conservancy comes in many forms, and the improvements that Jim has spearheaded are not only revitalizing community, but also making it safer, enhancing energy conservation, and improving water quality. Congratulations, Jim Bowling, this year's recipient of Kent Environmental Council's Edith Chase Conservation Award.
Congratulations on the Edith Chase Conservation Award.
Thank you. I was floored.
Well deserved. Tell me a little bit about what you've done, maybe starting with the complete streets.
I came to Kent as a city engineer in 2007, and the residents of the city were pretty clear through their bicentennial plan, through their council members, through talking to the residents, that they really wanted to be pedestrian focused, more active transportation. They didn't want streets just for cars. So over this time period, we've been able to do numerous projects that transform streets that are predominantly car-centric and make them more of a complete street for bikes and pets. So we did that on North Water Street last year, where we took a really wide 2-lane road, made it narrower, made more, ironically, more spots to park cars, which then make cars drive slower, and then made crosswalks that were short and made it easier for pedestrians to use, wide sidewalks, places to sit, really sort of set the framework for pedestrian-oriented businesses to develop, where you would feel like in a nice downtown, basically. So
This concludes the 2022 presentation of the Portage Park District Foundation's Environmental Conservation Awards and KEC's Edith Chase Conservation Award. Congratulations to all the awardees.